And welcome to part 2 of the birthday orchid update. Sorry, it's been about a month, like I was stating in the previous video. So these 3 right here are from Orchid Supply Store, and these were my surprise unboxing orchids, which I'll link in the video in the description area below. Have no idea who sent these to me. Again, thank you so much. But because they came around the same time, I'm now putting them in my birthday orchids. Let's start with this Vanda here. So this is the Vanda Parashart Classic. And someone had asked where Orchid Supply gets their orchids from. They do get some of their orchids from Sun Grow or Better Grow, but he does use a few nurseries in Hawaii, and he orders from them 2 to 3 times a year. And just so you know, he grows the orchids for about a year before he puts them on sale. Just put that out there for you. And while we're at it, if you want to go ahead and get that 12% discount on anything that you purchase, 1 item to 100 items to however many you want to get, use coupon code TRISH at the coupon gift certificate in the checkout area, and remember, free shipping. So this one here was the first one that I purchased before they became a sponsor, and she is now sitting in this net basket. She hangs, let me move the camera a little bit, right there in front of that east-facing window. And she is in the large Vanda bark mix with some moss spread around. The reason for the moss is so I don't have to water her every day. So with the moss, I soak her for about 30 minutes every 3 to 4 days. I used to do it 10 to 20 minutes like every other day, but now I've extended it to anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes, sometimes an hour if I forget. Probably about every 3 days now, because this way the moss gets really, really nice and dampened, and the wood chips get some moisture to them as well, and it allows her to sit with some moisture around the roots for a little bit longer. Now I know they like that wet dry cycle, but she is in this big airy open basket. I have the ceiling fan that goes all day, so she's getting plenty of airflow. And I do check her just about every day just to make sure that everything is still good. Now, she doesn't have any new roots, but she did come with this leaf right here that was about down to there. So it is growing. She is doing something. Probably be spring before I see any new root growth or anything like that, unless she surprises me. And then we have this one, which is the Vanda Samsuri Pink crossed with Kolvadi fragrance. Again, very similar setup. There is a moss throughout with the large Vanda bark, and this is the one that had the 2. So one I'm assuming is the keiki, but this is the leaf that this growth came with, and she is continuing to extend that. She hasn't quite started. Oh, just now I noticed she is starting to open it up. So she is going to go ahead and finish that one off. And again, the same thing with this one. I don't see any roots, new roots. Now she's got roots in there, but they're the roots she came with. Because this is a larger basket, this one I only do every 4 to 5 days. Again, 30, 45 minute soak. And again, I do check on her frequently. I watered her about 3 days ago, and she still has a little bit of dampness around the edges. She sits right over, let's see if I can point it. She sits right over there in that corner, right in front of the east-facing window. And then the Hauserman Vanda also sits on the a stand in front of the east-facing window with a grow light that kind of shines on her as well to give her that additional lighting. And then we have the Latoria type Dendrobium here. Let me put you up a little bit. That has matured her new growths that she came with. She did start some new root growth off of those. So she is now in a small bark, perlite, and a little bit of tree fern to help keep the media dampened a little bit longer. So no roots on the outside. She did have a decent root system when I repotted her, and each new growth was pushing out a new root. So I expect to see some roots taking over that pot probably by spring. Look at me being all confident because we're going into the cool weather, and we all know Latoria do not like cool weather. But the difference is I grow in my living room, so the temperature stays fairly ambient year round. She's not going to have to suffer with cold and drastic temperature fluctuations. So I'm expecting her to just continue doing what she's doing. I do have her staked just to kind of help support her because, like I said, I just repotted her and she is still a little wobbly in the pot. So I don't move her very often. I literally check on her every 2 to 3 days, just pick the pot up. If it doesn't need watering, I set her immediately back down. And then the 3 surprise orchids here. Let's do the Equestris first. So the Equestris is still, here I'll just show you. This is Equestris crossed back to self. So she is still in her nursery pot, in her tightly packed sphagnum, which I did change. I will put the video link down below if you want to see that. No new root growth that I can see. She's not growing any new leaves or anything. She's maintaining, and this leaf does look like it got a little bit bigger, but because it was already almost mature when I got her, it's hard to tell. But I am waiting on new roots so that I can get her into, it will still be the moss setup, but I want to put her in the self-watering hanging on the wall that I have. Again, I don't use those self-watering pots like they're supposed to be. I don't use the wick. I just use them more so I can put the pots on the wall. But currently she is sitting on the bench in the east-facing window, facing the living room, so she's getting bright and direct light. And we have the Miltasia. Which one is this? Phoenix Rising White Light. So that is Miltasia Phoenix Rising White Light. And these all came from Carter & Holmes. So she has started, let me see if I can do this without messing her up too much, but she started pushing out some new roots. So I decided to go ahead and pot her up into this little bitty, what is this, a 2-inch? Nope, 3-inch pot. And she has small bark and some moss layered around. She was in a small bark kind of grit setup, so I wanted to add the moss to add that additional moisture. And so far this growth is continuing. This leaf right here is a little wanky because she was stuck against another one when it was growing, so it's kind of hardened off that way. Aesthetically it doesn't look very pleasing, but we'll go with it. It looks like she is about to start swelling her bud down there. We'll have to wait and see. And I do keep her in quite a bit of rock, so the rock comes to about right here, and I do keep water kind of almost to the tip of it, again to help with humidity. As she is a seedling, she does want to stay moist a little bit longer. And then we have the Lycaste that is still in her original nursery pot in media. So this is the Lycaste Little Kitty Uzar number 1 crossed with Uzar number 2. She is just continuing on that growth, not doing much. Let me see. Let's look, see if we see any new roots yet. And so far, I do not see any new roots pushing out, but it looks like she is in seedling mix with a little bit of charcoal and perlite mixed in. So I am just going to wait for some new growth, or because this media looks fairly decent, I may just leave her in here until she outgrows the pot. I haven't quite decided yet. Either way it goes, I'm pleased with the way they're all growing, especially the Lycaste and the Miltasia, seeing as I've never had them before. Now this one here, the Lycaste, I know they don't like to dry out, so again, when I water the Samara, I generally will water her as well, which is every 2 to 3 days, usually 3 days right now. Now once the heater kicks on, we may have a problem, but right now it's about every 2 to 3 days. So I'm very pleased with how all of the ladies are going, and let me know if you have any ideas on what I can do with that big Vanda. Like what would you do with it? Remember, I grow in my home. I do use some supplemental lighting, but not a lot, so I would prefer to use natural lighting. I have an east-facing window in here, and then I have a southwest-facing window in the other bedroom where the other orchids are that I could possibly put them in. Would you mount it? And then I was also thinking of putting it in one of these big mesh pots with the trellis bamboo. I can't speak. The bamboo trellis, and let it lean against that and then grow up and still have it in a hanging kind of situation. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what to do with that one. Let me know. Give me some thoughts. Give me some ideas. Everybody have a beautiful day, and I'll see you on the next one.